Well, the first 2 episodes of Guidelines to Not Sucking at Video Reviewing pretty much covered the bulk of the conception of your reviewing show. Now we've reached the end of that, which I guess might be considered the climax, and it's a little disappointing, a little anticlimactic. Because this episode is really the selling point, your marketing strategy, or whatever you want to call it. It's a very small detail, but it is very important. You should have the general idea of what you're going to do. So the question now is, what are you going to do to get people to watch you? This is the most simple but agonizingly complicated guideline yet, because you're really never going to know if what will work. Obviously, it's a gamble as to whether you're going to get views or not. But the first part is your name, or title. Believe it or not, you actually can use your normal name, and I don't think that will matter. John, Lisa, Bill, Mike, Zod. If that's what you want to do, go for it.
Unless your name really is Zod, then you might want to get that fixed.
Don't just title your video, Morgan Reviews Planet of the Vampires. Why would we care about who Morgan is? What makes him so important? Or don't just say Planet of the Vampires Review. I mean, nobody's going to watch that. It's just too bland. It's too generic. We want something that will stick out at us to make us want to watch a show besides the subject. So let's explore titling. Let's first pretend like you're creating a username for yourself, and that's what you will be known as. Angry Joe, the Cinema Snob, the Irate Gamer, the Nostalgia Critic. What do they have in common? Their names indicate a trait of their work. Sometimes even flat out spelling out what the show is about. So rule 1, if possible, your name should reveal something about you or your subject. This is something I'm really bad at. I call myself Martial Horror, which represented the movies I initially intended to review, martial arts and horror. But I obviously went away from that, and now my name doesn't really make sense. So this is something we could all easily fall into without realizing it. The concept is simple, but this actually leaves room for the most frustrating mistake a reviewer can make. Rule 2, do not derive your name from someone else. How many people borrow from that guy with the glasses or the angry video game nerd? Whenever I see a name like that fellow in the coat or the angry movie dork, the first thing that pops up in my head is rip off. My first impression just on the name is negative. They can be great reviewers for all I know, but first impressions are hard to get over. Rule 3, don't just refer to yourself by your YouTube, Blip, or whatever account name that you may have, especially if you have that account before you began reviewing. Obviously, if the name fits, go with it, but many people have pretty bland names that few people will remember. Say what you will about Game Dude, but I think this is one thing he did very well. Would anyone remember him if he referred to himself by his YouTube name, Alexander4488? No, that's forgettable. Nobody would remember that, even if he was a great reviewer or the worst reviewer. But everybody knows who Game Dude is, whether you like him or not.
Granted, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but at least he does that right.
Rule 4, don't mislead us. If you're reviewing games, don't have films in your title. Or don't have game in your title if you're going to review films. I'm looking at you, the Rated R gamers. I hope you enjoyed that shout out. You're really cool, man. If you don't want to put that much into your name, and just intend to use your real name or something, just have a good title that tells us about the show in a short but memorable way. I use Critiquing the Critics. It tells you everything you need to know about what I do, but in a catchy way. So rule 5, if you don't have a name that works, just focus on the title of your show, and make it good. So at least now you have a light blueprint for your show. You also have everything you need to hopefully attract viewers. Oh, catchphrases, by the way, are optional, but they pretty much follow the same rules. Now the question is, are your reviews good enough to sustain our interest?
But how do you make good reviews? Well, be sure to join us next time, which should be like in a year from now. A year? Guess it sucks to be you then. See ya.